Hello, you're watching Donna, and I'm here for Much Ado About Something. Welcome. Well, today I'm doing the Three Rivers Challenge, eating from my pantry and eating from my freezers and what I have on hand. I haven't bought food for the month of January, and I'm not going to buy it all the way through January or February, so we're eating what we have on hand in our freezers and our pantry. Now, I have laid out a couple of briskets here out of the freezer. I've got two small briskets. They're unthawed. And so I'm going to cook these briskets, and I'm going to chop up carrots, onions, and potatoes around them. So here's my two briskets that I laid out. They're kind of on the small side, and that's the reason I'm going to fix two. These were pre-packaged when we bought them from the butcher, but I divided them up and put them in a better freezer bag. I also unthawed some peaches here. I'm going to make a peach cobbler. So that's what I'm making for today. The kids are here today, so if you hear them in the background, you'll know. That they're here playing. Yeah. Of course, we have to recycle these freezer bags, so I've washed them out and I'm going to let them drain. Because they've had meat in them, I probably won't use them to put anything edible in. I'll probably just use those to put toys or something I'm corralling for the kids back in. But I always try to get a second use out of any kind of baggie or any kind of thing like that I use. Well, I've got the potatoes and the carrots cut up. I'm going to go ahead and chop these up to go in with the roast. I leave my peelings on carrots. Some people peel them, but I think that there's flavor and nutrients under here. Well, that's why I like to leave the peelings on my carrots and some of my other vegetables. I don't process them to death. I still leave some of the things on them that I think have added nutrients and flavor. Here are the briskets. I've got these two little briskets in here. I'll be seasoning them up with some salt and pepper. And I've got the fat sides down, and I'm going to go ahead and cut up the onions and just lay them on there. I'll also cut up the carrots. This is a recipe that I always just fixed with my kids. I always fix this when my children were growing up at home. This was one of their favorites. My husband likes it too, so he'll be having this today. Now I'm just going to go ahead and cut up the potatoes, and I'll add them and the carrots. Add these carrots. This stuff will shrink a little bit as it cooks. So I'm not worried too much about it being, the pan being full. Now, of course, you'll cook this to the proper temperature of your meat. whatever roast you're making, whether it's beef, pork, whatever roast that you have, you be sure and cook it to the approximate accurate times to make sure your beef is done. I'll probably cook this for an hour and 15 minutes for the little size roast that I have and the vegetables. I'm going to go ahead and season these with some salt and pepper. That's Madeline in the background. She's talking about her favorite show she's watched today. Now this is avocado oil that I've got here, but you can put whatever kind of oil you like or whatever kind of seasoning. I'm just going to add a little bit of that over the top of the vegetables. And I'm going to pop this in the oven. Well, there's the delicious roast and the potatoes and carrots and onions. Donald said it looks delicious and he wants a plate of it. Okay, now that we've got our roast done with our carrots, potatoes, and onions, we're going to go ahead and work on the dessert. I'm going to use 2 cups of flour because I'm going to use all of this fruit that I've got here. Two cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar, you can cut the sugar back to 1 cup if that's what you would like to do. I have a 5x9 pan here. I've already put coconut oil on it. I've got 2 cups of flour, self-rising flour, and 2 cups of sugar. And now I'm going to put my peaches in here. The frozen peaches that I took out of the freezer. I'm going to put them in here in this mixture. Now the normal ratio for a cobbler, or a sanka as it was called where my dad was raised, is 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of fruit, 1 cup of milk, and 1 cup of butter. But I've doubled this recipe, so I'm going to put these peaches that I have in here. I've got 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar, and a little more than 2 cups of peaches because I like a lot of fruit. I'm going to flavor this with amaretto, so I'm going to put about I'd say probably a tablespoon of amaretto in here just to give it flavor instead of vanilla flavoring. I'm going to use the amaretto. Now I'm going to stir this all in before I add the milk because once I've taken these peaches out of the freezer, there's quite a bit of juice in here. And then I'll have to measure out the oil. Now the peaches are still cool because I've taken them out of the freezer and unthawed them. You know, they unthawed in the refrigerator, so they're still cold. I would like to add coconut oil, you know, hard coconut oil into this, but I know it'll just clump up. So I'm going to go ahead and just use avocado oil in this mixture. I really didn't need any milk. I had enough juice from the peaches to make this a batter-like consistency. So for my oil, I'm going to go ahead and put 1 cup of avocado oil. Sorry about that. And then I'm going to put 1 cup of coconut oil. Now traditionally we would just use butter or lard in this recipe. But but I'm modifying it a little bit using the fats that I have on hand, the healthy fats that I use in my cooking most of the time. So I'm going to get this good and mixed up in here. Our 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar, roughly about 4 cups of fruit. I made this a little fruitier. Normally you would add milk, but my fruit had so much juice that I just used the fruit from the juice to moisten my batter. And then, of course, about 2 cups of butter or the fat of your choice, whatever you use in your usual cooking. And that's all that it takes to make this cobbler. I'm going to get it good mixed up here. And then I'm going to pour it into this pan, this 5x9 pan. I did use self-rising flour in this, but you don't have to use self-rising if you want to go ahead and use your all-purpose flour with your baking powder and baking soda, then by all means go ahead and do it that way. This is just one of the recipes that I go ahead and use self-rising flour for. It's just easier for me. All right, I'm going to throw this in the oven. Well, we'll put it carefully in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the leftovers from Donald making his bacon sandwich. And then we have our roast and our carrots and everything in here. So I'm going to go ahead and put this cobbler in this oven. And we're going to cook it until it's done. I'm going to say about 45 minutes. So since I've doubled the recipe, I'm going to go and put this on about 45 minutes. Well, I went a little over there, didn't I? Whoops. Well, here's the cobbler. I'm going to put a little cream on mine. Donald does not want cream on his. Thank you for joining me today. And like always, until next time.